side are you on?
Get off the fence, son.
Which side are you on?
Get off the bench, son.
Which side are you
Who will stand to defend us?
Which side are you on, my lord?
Peace of love, peace of love, peace of love. It's Talib Kweli Tef BKMC.
It's your boy Tef Poe.
And this is Lemme Ask You This. Another fantastic episode. How you feeling, Tef Poe?
Man, I feel marvelous. We out here in Minneapolis,
man.
rocking with the Twin Cities.
Shout out to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. You know we had to pull up because it's jumping north in Minneapolis.
Yeah, say less, man. That's how we met, actually, out there in St. Louis and North County and Ferguson, messing around with the mess around. So here we are now,
No doubt.
still doing the same thing essentially, in a
This is a
different
full
time.
circle moment because a lot of people are commenting on how the energy shifted and we lost some of the momentum of the movement, right? But what's happening with Trump, what's happening with ICE has put us back in each other's orbits, and doing this podcast gave us a reason to be able to touch down with the people in Minneapolis and St. Paul. And I gotta say, shout out to the people of the Twin Cities, man, because there's a lot of different ground zeros all over the world.
Facts.
Palestine is a ground zero. Ferguson was a ground zero at one point. Right now, Minneapolis, since George Floyd, well, really before that, this is the most racially separate city in the country, I think. Right? The disparities here are just atrocious.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a powder keg for them to really set it off. And they've been leading the charge. They've been doing their thing. We just found out that the Department of Homeland Security said they're about to roll back the amount of ICE agents in Minneapolis. And I feel like that's a direct result of the energy and the activism of the people here.
Oh, for sure. And, that's where we kind of come in, too, with this platform right here. Even though it's new, we are an extension of the movement. We, in some form, are one part political education, one part cultural dialogue, one part a place that you can come if you're an organizer and they locking all the other doors on you. We're going to open those doors for you to come on and say what you got to say.
No doubt. I want to start today's show by saying a big rest in peace to my man, Mr. Complex. Shout out to Mr. Complex. If you don't know who Mr. Complex is, go check out his solo work. Go check out his work with Pharoah Monch. Go check out his work with Polyrhythmatics. Shout out to Apani B. Fly MC. Shout out to DJ Spinner. Complex is missed, man. Make sure you tap in.
What would you say is the legacy of Mr. Complex as an MC, as an artist, as a contributor to the hip-hop diaspora?
He wasn't just an MC or an artist. He was a cultural curator. He was a Renaissance man. He was a video director. He was an integral part of the movement that I came in the game with, the raucous movement, the underground movement. Mr. Complex was just that. He was complex. He was ahead of his time. He was figuring things out on his own that people put in the hands of others. I feel like that was his legacy.
I like that. I feel like right now, there are two hip-hops. Sort of, we have the internet hip-hop that people believe is the popular narrative around the culture. And then we also have the hip-hop where folks are educating their kids about what they used to listen to and the importance of the elements and who our actual legends and beacons in the culture are. And I think that in the archives of hip-hop, he's definitely one of those people that pushed stuff forward before we even knew that that type of creativity was necessary.
Yeah, it can't be understated what he added to the game. And he's definitely going to be missed. It's been very tough recently. I lost John Forte recently. And James Van Der Beek. A lot of people know James Van Der Beek from Varsity Blues and Dawson Creek. He just passed away of cancer recently. But people don't know that we were good friends and we went to high school together. And I did a play called Chains and Straitjackets, which he was the star of. The play never really got
So you were in the play with him?
I wrote the play.
Oh, wow.
It was based on my experiences as being like a black kid going to a mostly predominantly white school. And he was also a student at that school. And it was called Chains and Straitjackets. And we got to the production phase. We were doing rehearsals. We never got it quite off the ground. But I never forget that experience. You know what's crazy? I think about with Van Der Beek, he had a show on one of these channels, maybe it was Vice, or I don't remember which channel was on, where he was, I think he was like, it was like a reality show about Diplo on some Curb Your Enthusiasm type shit. but he was playing Diplo. Wait, what was the name of that show? I'm about to Google it. But he had asked me to weigh in on an episode. He tried to do a Black Lives Matter episode of this show because he wanted to be a part of the conversation. And he asked me to weigh in on it. It's called What Would Diplo Do? Yeah. 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 It was funny. It was like a comedy. He asked me to participate in the conversation around whether or not they should air this episode. And it was me and a couple of the other activists, and we collectively came to the decision that we weren't going to air the episode. So I applaud James Van Der Beek for being that in touch, that he knew he had to tap in with the community before he attempts to represent something that he admittedly didn't understand. And I wish more people would do that.
Yeah, I respect that, man. I think that's how you avert so many cultural tragedies. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of stuff out there where I'm like, who greenlit this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Van Der Beek died of cancer. One of his last videos, he was going through treatment and he was in an apartment by himself. He was separated from his family. And he said, if I'm just a too skinny, weak guy alone in an apartment with cancer, what am I? And he paused. And then he was like, I am worthy of God's love simply because I exist. And if I am worthy of God's love, shouldn't I also be worthy of my own? And the same is true for you. And that's one of his last videos.
Mm-hmm.
He was iconic in Dawson's Creek. He was a movie star.
Yeah, for sure.
But he still had to auction off memorabilia with cancer from Dawson's Creek to raise money for the healthcare treatment. Like, most of the bankruptcies in this country are from people struggling with healthcare. I think it's like 60% of the bankruptcies in America are because of a broken healthcare system. That's fucking crazy.
It's insane, man. I'm going through a lot of that right now with my mother. You know, I pay for a lot of her healthcare needs right out of pocket. And as both of my parents get older, that becomes something that's real. You know, hip-hop don't come with a pension either. You know, choosing to be an entertainer is not really the lifestyle where these different things are kind of figured out in the profession. So I feel like as artists, we're on the front lines of that struggle.
Yeah, man. We need a union. And we need universal health care, not just as artists, but as citizens.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, that's where we are in the United States right now. Like, for somebody that can have that much social capital, that much influence in their prime, for that to be the way that they have to go out in the end, you know, it just shows you also the respect and the reverence we have for people that give us their lives through art, you know?
Yeah. Most people at this point have to like raise money, do GoFundMes, even if they famous.
Yeah. That's deep. That's real deep.
And that's a uniquely American problem. The rest of the world that has anywhere near the money that or resources that America has, they can provide their people with health care.
Or at least have the common sense or to make an attempt to do it. You know, none of these systems are perfect. You know, I remember I was a part of a delegation of folks from St. Louis who went to Barbados to learn about slavery in the Caribbean and to try to build a pipeline of education and mutual influence between St. Louis and Barbados. Come to find out, we had a deep education that I never thought I would encounter this in the Caribbean. But I learned a lot. I learned that that's kind of where it started. You know, that was, we often think about Africa as where it started, but these colonizers was coming down there cooking up first, and the plot to dehumanize us is so deep that those folks fought for hundreds of years to become an independent nation. Now Barbados is an independent nation, but they have all these different systems where their citizens can, go to college for free, and they have, minimalistic problems with the doctor. If you want to go to the doctor, you can just go to the doctor. But we were talking to a lot of the politicians over there, and I was like, so if y'all got all these free systems, why wouldn't people just opt in? And they didn't have an answer for that. And in my mind, I said, because the poor is still the poor. You know, no matter what the pecking order is, if I'm poor, if I don't have the access, I still don't have the access. And, you know, I think that's something to think about.
Yeah, what do you think about the fact that in this era, it seems like a lot of us who were born in America, Black people born in America, are now, and I'm seeing this online more than I'm seeing it in person, but are coming out against immigration, and particularly specifically against Black immigrants, people from Africa, people from the Caribbean.
Yeah, I hate that, man. It pains me to see people do that, because what we're doing, in a sense, is we're giving them a free pass, a free get out of jail card as it pertains to the history of slavery. And a lot of people muddy up the waters with these stories about us being already in certain places geographically.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. I believe, the planet is a Black planet.
That's right.
Black folks and Black adjacent, melanin adjacent folks have been all over the earth.
It's like Paul Mooney said, Cubans and Puerto Ricans are just niggas who know how to swim.
Exactly, man. So I think two things can be concurrently true. I'm one of them people, I'm kind of not an absolutist about nothing. So I have grandmothers and great-grandmothers who I know for a fact got here through some discourse that involved slavery. I know that for a fact. I'm not that disconnected from my history on this soil where I could just walk around and be blinded about how a few generations ago my folk got here. You know what I'm saying? But the truth of the matter is the miseducation of the Negro is a real thing. And
shout out to Carter G. Woodson.
We are in a time where folks don't read no more. Books are irrelevant. The education system has basically collapsed. It was Mike Tyson, of all people, that had a brilliant quote that I saw on his podcast where he said, those schools have always been the enemy of Black people. And
Dead Press said them schools don't teach you shit.
And that's deep, right? Like, Mike Tyson said that. Like, think about it. Like, for somebody like Mike Tyson to say that statement, like, most people don't look at that man and say that's an intellectual. But he's talking about public education, private education in that quote. And that made me do a lot of thinking about where we are. You know, like, there are hardly any real well-read men anymore. You know, people watch documentaries and assume that's the equivalency of being well-read.
I don't trust people who don't have books in their crib. You go to somebody's crib, you look around, you don't see no books. Get out of that crib.
I got books everywhere in the house, bro. It's a shame.
You got to. You got to. Back in the days when I was growing up, they said, you ever want to hide something from Black folks, put it in a book. And that's a self-deprecating thing to say. But it was speaking on the fact that we are indoctrinated to not wanting to learn about who we are. They have convinced us that we are the minority. We refer to each other as minorities, even though we are the global majority.
Yes.
And what we don't realize is that white supremacy only works with accomplices of color. If it was no Black people or no other people of color that were assisting in upholding systems of white supremacy, it would fucking crumble immediately under its own weight, right? They need accomplices because they are the minority. So the quicker we realize that, the faster we'll get to liberation.
Yeah, man, that's you cooking with that. I mean, how many times do we see it even in our own communities where it's like, yo, if we could just stop doing X, Y, Z, we'll be a little bit better. And if we could even have some type of sophisticated understanding around why we're doing X, Y, Z, we could prevent it from happening again. And I think that I say this all the time about the mayor of St. Louis, Kara Spencer. I say that her greatest conspiracy is making you believe that there is no conspiracy. And that's essentially what they've done with white supremacy in 2026. They have very logical, educated people. I see people that I know have studied stuff like supreme mathematics and stuff like that, telling me that, it's cool to support ICE or it's cool to be adjacent to neo-Nazi rhetoric. And I don't know how this ideology put brothers on a course to get to this as the final destination, because when I was young and I was around certain individuals that was teaching us and sparking us and putting certain things in us, for me, when I looked down the road, the conclusion wasn't to become a fascist.
Yeah, I think that's just the capitalist mind state that we have all been indoctrinated with. If you grew up in America, you were kind of forced into a system of capitalism, and some people uphold that. And I have more grace for a black capitalist than I do for a white person who's a capitalist, because we ain't never had shit. Niggas like, we just got this money, right? So I understand there's a lot to unpack there. So I'm not like judgmental of people.
Taking the perspective of somebody that's been in the music industry for many years, you walk very particular political lines. One of the things that I've been up against as an artist is, folks kind of want you to be on Skid Row while representing the people. You couldn't possibly be having decent forward mobility and also be a solid person politically.
Yeah, that's also a function of capitalism, and I don't hold the consumers responsible for that. It doesn't matter whether or not the consumers have grown in a system that teaches them that music is free and they shouldn't value art. That's true, but that doesn't matter. The onus is still on me as a creator. But I went through something with the Black Star album when I put the Black Star album through Luminary, and I put the Liberation album out through Luminary. And in my career, as you know, as an artist, most of the things we do end up in the red.
Yeah.
Most of the things we do are a labor of love. We put things out in the hopes that we can make a profit, but we really don't profit on the music because people don't value the music. People would rather buy an iPhone for $1,000.
Yeah.
And then if you ask them to pay $1 for a song, they'd be like, you being greedy.
Yeah.
I already pay Spotify. Why I got to pay you too?
Yeah.
So
facts.
These people have been indoctrinated in that way, and it's our job as artists to help break them out of that and help create situations where they can feel comfortable in supporting us. But with the Luminary situation, that's the first time, one of the first times that before I put out a project, I was in the black. And so we were able to not have to beg you to buy the album. And we were able to not have to put it through Spotify. A lot of people complain about the streaming, but we empowered ourselves as black men, independent black men, to not have to go through the record industry that everybody complains about, to get paid without having to ask you for a specific amount of money. All we asked you to do was subscribe to Luminary, which was a platform where you didn't just get the Black Star album, but you got the People's Party, you got the Liberation, you got all these other podcasts. Now, to be fair to the consumer, a lot of people might not want that. It's like the same thing when YouTube put their records in on something with Apple, when you got iTunes and it came in, hey, I don't want that, right? So that, I get that, right? But at what point do you take responsibility as a conscious consumer? When I rolled that project out and I spoke about it online and I told people what it was, and they were like, people were upset. Why I got to sign up for Luminary? I'm already signed up for all these other things. Why can't you just put it in the marketplace where I always go? So people were essentially complaining because they had to press 3 or 4 buttons to get access to my music instead of pressing 1. They didn't want to leave where they were at, and they felt offended. And they felt like I was taking advantage of them. And they didn't put it on Most. And the only reason they didn't put it on Most is because he don't be online like that. They came at me because I was online like that. And I know because they was like, it's probably all Kweli's idea. And and it wasn't. Like, to be fair, like, Yassine Bey is a visionary. This was all Yassine Bey's idea.
Yeah.
And he was correct. If it was up to me, it'd probably been on Spotify.
Yeah.
But I was following my brother's lead, and he was correct about that. And people really got at us together, very upset. And that was disheartening to me. It made me feel like people don't mean what they say. They don't want to actually support the artists. They just want it to be convenient.
I think that's a sign of the times. I think hip-hop is going back to a direct-to-consumer module. I think unfortunately, projects like that one were like the sacrificial lambs to kind of wake everybody up and say, hey, this is possible. Also, another person like that for me was Nipsey Hussle.
Shout out to Nipsey.
And then another guy that don't get enough credit to me, that is a great kind of direct-to-consumer independent artist and manipulates Spotify, is Sauce Walka. My approach to building my career for real has been basically one part what you guys do is pick and choose when to insert yourself into the system. And then outside of that, you are using the underground to build these different apartment rooms that people could go into. And I took that narrative from Sauce. He said, you need different apartments. And so when you dropped the Luminary joint, that did make me decide as an underground dude that, all right, if these cats on that level of the game and they going direct to consumer, then like maybe there's something there. So I dropped like probably 20 mixtapes direct to consumer.
Did they do well for you?
I mean, I made more money off of them than I did on Spotify, didn't I? You know what I'm saying?
Well, at least somebody got something out of it.
I mean, it's not like I went quadruple plat off of them, but even to this day, there's folks who watch this show and go, oh snap, he do got a bunch of tapes out that I could buy instead of just streaming. But the challenge to that is you have to keep going when you go direct consumer because everything isn't going to sell equally. So right now we're in a market where people just want the music, so they really don't really care. So
yeah, Jimmy Iovine said that streaming is seconds away from being obsolete.
Facts.
He says streaming is like an ATM machine that does nothing for the artist.
Facts.
And he talked about how when he first came in, he started producing for John Lennon. And he realized by working with John Lennon, all he had to do was focus on making the artist great, and the artist would make money for everybody. And he said the problem with streaming is they don't want to give the artist anything. Their whole business model is based on what the artists create, and they want the artist out of the room. They want the artist out of the equation. India.Arie killed the game when she talked about the fact that Joe Rogan got this $100 million deal with Spotify. And he talks, and Spotify's business model is based on music, and no musician has that deal with Spotify. Spotify and these other streaming services are not giving us access to the list. They're not really in partnership with us at all. They really like, fuck y'all.
It's the truth. And you know, and I see this a lot of times, even back home when I talk to different artists that are trying to figure out their situation, and they might have a buzz or they might got things clicking for them. I always say, man, like, you want to make the best music you can make, obviously. You want to be known for making good music. But don't get so caught up in music as the primary product that you're trying to create as an artist in terms of monetization. Because you're going to be chasing that for 20, 30 years. You just have to have other interests and things that people find intriguing enough to associate with you in your music. But music as a singular product is the worst product you could have in a capitalist system.
Yeah, I read a book by KRS-One when I worked at Inkiru Books back in the days called The Science of Rap. He actually put it out for free because he was not a capitalist like that. I called him on the radio. He was on WBAI, and I asked him how I could get the book, and he sent it to me. He sent me a box, and he was like, just give it out. It's okay. But in The Science of Rap, he says, if you're doing music for money, stop, because you're tainting the music and you're doing the music with the wrong intentionality. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what I got from that book. So that's the same point you was just making.
Yeah, I heard alchemists say this before, that taking sound and trying to package it to be sold is something unnatural. Like when they invented the drum, nobody sat around and said, oh, shit, it's on. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that was, we about to get rich. Nobody said that, you know? And even thinking that you could take sound and sell it to somebody, you're doing something that's so unnatural that when it comes time for us to really figure out the equation of why music is or isn't selling, none of it makes sense. Everybody just making up shit out their ass because when the origin of sound is not that you would give it to somebody for a couple dollars.
You making me think of that scene in Sinners when he heard him play. First time, he's like, Oh shit, we about to get rich. Get rich or die trying. Shit.
He did. That's real, man.
Speaking of get rich or die trying, did you see what happened to Ja Rule on the plane?
Of course.
You have any thoughts about that?
I think it's a complicated situation. I mean, from the footage, he ain't gonna get no credit in this generation of people because people nowadays don't view this type of masculinity as a positive thing. Mm-hmm. But I will give him credit for being by himself and standing his ground. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like he was, and people say he was doing it to make a scene because he knew people was filming. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he was by himself, and you can't say they marked him out, you know? From my opinion, that's just my opinion, he didn't get marked out completely.
I travel a lot, and I've had some situation on a plane. They tried to Ja Rule me on the plane the other day. When I was on my way here, I seen an elderly lady, she had fallen down, and the dude she was with, he wasn't strong enough to help her up because it was like the angle she was at, he just couldn't help her up. Somebody tried to come and help her up, and there was a white dude in front of me, and you know, my inclination is when you see an elderly woman falling down, it doesn't matter how many people is there to help her. I'm still good. Like, my gut is like, and I'm trying to like, I said to him, I said, yo, you not gonna help her up? And he was like, she don't need no help. And I'm like, bro, she's still on the ground. So I try to get by him, and he physically, this is when you waiting to get off the plane. And he physically put his arm, and then me and him started jawing, and we started getting to cussing at each other, and he was like, shut the fuck up. And I'm like, oh,
wow.
And it was like, he didn't say he was MAGA, but he had that MAGA energy. And when I got off that plane, I was like, he tried to Ja Rule me. But, you know, I was watching one of those YouTube documentaries about the D12 versus Royce the 5'9" beef. And I know all those guys, and shout out
That's
to all
one of the
those
craziest beefs of ever, but people don't really talk about how crazy that beef
They got
actually
crazy.
Super crazy.
They're crazy in Detroit.
At one point, because I'm a huge Royce the 5'9" fan, you know, being a Midwest dude, that's at some point that was like my hove. You know what I'm saying? Like lyrically, everybody that knows me know I'm deeply influenced by Royce. But there was a point where he was calling himself Malcolm X on records.
That's right. And people got shot and people got hurt in that beef. People got beat up, similar to Ja Rule and 50, right? So it's like when people getting shot at and people getting into real physical confrontations, you be feeling like that beef is forever.
I agree.
Right? But Royce and Proof, rest in peace, Big Proof, was locked in a jail cell after a shootout. And they was able to piece it up. And that whatever whatever conversation they had in that jail cell, being forced to be together in a place where you couldn't really get it on the way that you might want to get it on, it created a lasting peace. And I feel like that was grown. And just me being a fan of hip hop, I wish, and again, when people get into violent altercations, I can't speak of what no next man gonna feel like he gotta do to protect his family.
Right.
But I wish, as a hip hop fan, that when they was in that container of that plane, that was a moment to maybe have some reconciliation, like Proof and Royce did. I feel like that's the example, instead of it becoming a moment for content.
I think in that scenario, I can't agree with you. The hip hop head in me would love to see a more peaceful conclusion to that whole saga. Like, I'm one of the G-Unit fans that would love to see the Game back with the unit. I'd love to see Young Buck back with the unit. But I also understand that when you in a actual, real, true-to-life gangster rap group, you know, certain things are non-negotiable, fam. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing really studio about the G-Unit situation. So it was like niggas' cribs really did get shot up. People really did take bullets. It really was studio scuffles with knives and people getting poked and shit. So, like, yeah, you really can't come back from, like, niggas trying to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't no nigga in the world that's gonna really willfully come back from motherfuckers trying to kill you, especially multiple motherfucking times.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of the fans don't understand when they be pouring gas on the shit. You know, and speaking of pouring gas on the shit, I gotta say this, man, because you just made me think of this. Man, shame on DJ Vlad, man. Like, and Vlad, I'm gonna look at the camera, Vlad.
Was that shit real?
No, it wasn't real. He was trolling.
Okay.
He was trolling. But Vlad, Stop it, Vlad.
I saw that, man. I was
Stop it,
confused,
Vlad.
bro. I was confused.
You shouldn't be doing that. Like, that's playing with evil forces. Talking on criminality, talking on court cases where people really got hurt and people really went to jail. That shit's nothing to fucking play around with, bro.
Yeah, bro. I'm gonna tell you the real though, dog. We got to get back to like the point where like nigga business is nigga business.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I hate to sound so country about it and so, direct about it.
Say it how it need to be said.
But
plain.
We got to get back to that point where like we got internal business amongst each other, just like the Italians, just like the Jews, just like different variations of the Asians and Arabs, and where like you can't interject in what them folk got going on no matter how bad it is for one of their people. Like we have, like as black men, we looked at like the lowest of the totem pole trying to get in on some Italian official hush-hush business. Like, what the fuck wrong with you niggas? This ain't got nothing to do with y'all. We got to get back like that with different groups who just, we ain't saying that we want no accountability for folks in our community that are foul, but I never agree with the part of the saga where we interject the white man to have some type of top-down analysis that we as niggas couldn't develop ourselves. That part is ridiculous to me.
Yeah, and Vlad be saying a lot of goofy shit, and I gotta say this as someone I know Vlad. I could get him on the phone like that. I've been on his show many times. Like, I know the man. I know I could call him and go up, and I know if I say something fly, it'll go everywhere. It'll get viral. But it's like, nah, I'm going to respect it. But sometimes I get caught up. I'm like, I'm going to go on Vlad.
Yeah.
And then Vlad say some stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I can't go on. Like, when he said the thing about, when they talk about Kendrick Lamar, and he didn't like, they not like us, or something he did last year, I was like, yo, bro, you got to stop. You gotta stop. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. I live in a world where black people, Latino people, Hispanic people who actually help build certain parts of our culture, you can have a certain analysis around.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of trying to get to. It's like, it's not even, nigga business should be nigga business, right? And hip hop starts with black and brown people. But hip hop is also a culture that has people of all races. So I don't have a problem with someone having an opinion on hip hop or participating in hip hop. They call me racist and say I don't like white people. I've done more songs with white rappers than probably most white rappers, to be honest with you. And it's not that my proximity means that I can't be prejudiced against white people, but my actions show that I support unity amongst the races. And my actions support, like I did Pierce Morgan with Vlad last year. And Pierce Morgan said some people call Vlad a culture vulture. And I said, I could see why they call him that. I don't think he's a culture vulture because I think Vlad is a part of the culture just from my personal history. But I could see where that criticism can come from. But when he does stuff like this, it's like, we can't discount the fact that racism exists.
And then I don't know.
He made a comment about Bad Bunny last week. D.L. Hewley got at him. D.L. Hewley was like, yo, he said, we shouldn't have had Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl because most of America speaks English. And it's like, bro, most of America listens to Bad Bunny, bro. Like, you been to a club lately? The fuck are you even talking about?
And these niggas don't realize Puerto Rico is America for some reason.
Yeah,
I'm lost every time somebody like that talks about it. But the thing is, a lot of times my analysis of the game come from the position of a person that's not really knee deep into the industry in a sense. So I kind of still have a real world view of certain things, like I still have to go to the barbershop and have real conversations with dudes who never met no famous rappers for real or don't got a public narrative to protect around certain things. And the truth is, like, yeah, a lot of shit be getting a lot of views and shit, worldwide. But if you talk to real people, are they really honestly fucking with it? Hell no. It's just, in these days and time, to be a public figure, you also got to be one part computer hacker. So a lot of these guys know how to, get the algorithm to do what they want it to do. But a lot of times, the real people don't be fucking with that shit, man. The part that makes me the most uncomfortable about the Vlad situation is kind of like the viral attempt to come up off the names and the image and the suffering of black women, in a sense.
Yeah, it was nasty work, bro.
And I know people that know him, so they say positive things about him. In a sense, people behind the scenes say some positive things about Vlad. So I'm led to just try to ask one logical question: why would he do something like that?
I honestly think he was just trolling, and I think that he honestly thought that shit was funny. He thought it was, when he called the Sneeko dude, he was like, yo, people don't get sarcasm? No, nigga, no. It's not that people don't get sarcasm. It's that shit is not funny. Why would you do that unless there's some semblance of truth to that? Why would you do that? Why are you playing with people's names and reputations? I don't know really, I don't know anything about the situation. I wasn't there. I don't know who's telling the truth or whatever. I just know what was reported, what the court said. I don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Why would I even speak on that in any type of dismissive or funny or sarcastic way?
The wild part to me is like, it just seems weird to try to cook up these crazy conspiracy theories, including Jay-Z and all these people. Like, it's such a reach wraparound maneuver. And to be the person that's kind of propagating that in the society after, like I said, we have to conclude that this woman really got shot. And, God bless my brother. I don't want no black man to be behind bars, but at the same time, I also don't want no white man in the music industry to be springboarding his platform off of the pain of a black woman. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think he also was trying to catch some of that Jay-Z heat. Jay-Z name been in the news because of the Epstein files. His name was in the Epstein files. Pusha T name was in the Epstein files. And I want to unpack that a little bit because I'm part of this culture. Both Jay-Z and Pusha T are people that I know, and people that I consider peers, and people I consider icons, and people I respect, and people I've worked with on different type of things, whether it be a show or a song or whatever. So I think it's important for us to talk about their proximity to the situation.
So first, let's start with this. Was that real news?
That's real news. Jay-Z's name is in the Epstein files, but so is Stevie Wonder. Ain't nobody talking about that. But it's about what's your name in the Epstein files for. Stevie Wonder's name is in the Epstein files because there was emails between Epstein and some of his people that said Stevie Wonder is anti-Israel. Jeffrey Epstein is very pro-Israel. The reason Jay-Z name in the Epstein files, because someone said, I don't even know if it's a man or a woman because it's an anonymous tip that the FBI got that they put in the files. And she says that, or he says, I don't know, that they were drugged and kidnapped and taken to a mansion in 1996. And when they woke up, they were being abused by Harvey Weinstein and Jay-Z was watching. This is the story. In 96, Reasonable Doubt comes out. So I don't know if that timeline is timeline.
The question I got is, as a hip-hop head, I remember 96 Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? 96 Jay-Z ain't the Jay-Z of today. Like,
right.
Did he have that much power to be in the room with them type of people in 96?
Yeah, we don't know. And the other part about it is Pusha T's name is involved in it. And the timeline where he's involved in it, he would have been a very young man. The clips would not have been cracking.
That's my thing, right? As a person that's been listening to black music all my life, at the timeline that these two men are mentioned in, they're not like ultra recognizable.
I think it's people just trying to associate the entertainment industry, black people in the entertainment industry with all of that. There's a lot of names in the Epstein files. Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files more than anybody's. It's in there like thousands and thousands of times, right? And with black people, if you hear black people in the Epstein files, if someone's at a party or something like this, with these other motherfuckers, these MAGA niggas, they emailing back and forth talking about when can I pull up on the island? You got the Howard Lutnick dude who's the Secretary of Commerce talking about I never ever wanted to go to the island. I would never be seen with this dude. I went to his house. He had a massage table. And then I said, oh, I'm not fucking with this dude. Couple weeks later, he's emailing the dude trying to get on the island. Elon Musk said Donald Trump is definitely in the files, which he was, but Elon Musk is in the files, emailing with Jeffrey Epstein back and forth, trying to get on the island. Kid Rock is out here with lyrics about how young girls are sexy to him. Why are we as a culture talking about Jay-Z and Pusha T? You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is like these these MAGA niggas, they are either they pedophiles or they're good friends with pedophiles. It's one of the two.
How about this? I don't know if they pedophiles or not. I just know the pedophiles think they pedophiles.
Yeah.
You feel me?
That part.
The niggas that's in the pedophilia think y'all in the pedophilia, my nigga. So you can do with that what you want to do with it. You feel me?
Yeah, man.
So let me ask you this. What has Stevie Wonder done publicly to indicate that he is that level of a threat to the Zionist project?
I don't know of any specific statements that Stevie Wonder has said about Palestine or Israel or anything, but what I do know about our brother Stevie Wonder is that he has always spoken up for peace, and he has never been shy about supporting marginalized people and oppressed people.
Yeah.
And he will put his beliefs on the line. So I would be shocked if he hasn't said something public on behalf of Palestine. But he's also really about peace. He's really about peace and bringing people together. So I know that whatever statement Stevie made, it wasn't made with no type of aggression. It wasn't made with no type of violent action or thought. If Stevie did speak on it, I guarantee he says something extremely compassionate and extremely peaceful, which if you're trying to genocide a people and you're trying to oppress a people, well, that's a real threat.
That makes sense, man. I met Stevie Wonder one time in Flint, Michigan, and it's actually a pretty crazy story. At home, and I get a call from Pastor Mike, this very well-known pastor from Live Free.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, man, I need you to get to Flint. I'm putting together something with Ryan Coogler. Now, at the time, I'm going to be honest, I had got so invested into the Ferguson Revolution that I know who Ryan Coogler is, but at that time in my life, I'm totally disassociated from certain things. You know,
I mean, also his legend has increased a lot since then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me going out there to Flint, that wasn't even a factor. Unbelievably so, it wasn't even a factor of why I went. It was just really an opportunity to go somewhere where folks was in duress and my talent could be used. They wanted me to do a song. I get out there, mind you, Pastor Mike, one of them people, if he called me, I kind of just say yes. So once he asked me to go, I really didn't hear a lot of the other stuff he was saying. I just was already in motion to go. I get out there. This is a way bigger deal than my crazy country bumpkin ass was prepared to embrace it be. First of all, it's televised because they raising money. Then they got Janelle Monáe on the bill. They got Stevie Wonder. There's whispers that Stevie Wonder is coming, but he's not officially listed. So much that folks is coming to the event like, we know y'all got Stevie back there, right? Stevie wasn't there when I first got there, right? I meet Ryan Coogler, but honestly, at the time, I'm so out there in this shit back in St. Louis. You know, the whole city raging at war. I mean, it was kind of like a fly-by moment for me. You know what I'm saying? I think about that all the time. Like, damn, nigga, you was so in the shit, you met dog and barely remembered it. And so I do my song, whatever. You know me, I do more than just do the song. I get up there, I probably said Free Palestine on the TV or something. I went on a nice little Tef Poe rant. You know what I'm saying? And prior to that, I think I'm backstage. I see Vic Mensa and a few other people.
Shout out to Vic Mensa.
And this is probably like my first time really meeting Vic. And so I'm backstage. We all backstage. And we hear, move, 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 move. Clear the line, everybody clear the line, right? And I'm like, what the hell going on outside the green room? Stevie Wonder comes walking in the green room. Stevie Wonder go, man, I gotta use the bathroom. So he go use the bathroom. First thing my crazy ass is thinking, y'all niggas got Stevie washing his hands with that contaminated ass water, bro. I'm like, this shit fucked up. They got like, but who am I to interject? You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling like Stevie Wonder gotta use the bathroom. So then his guy that's with him goes to the security and he says, bruh, the man been blind all his life. He's blind, not deaf. You ain't got to do all that damn yelling. I about died in the green room, bro. He said, the man is blind, not deaf. You ain't got to do all that damn yelling. Man, that was hilarious, man. But yeah, that's the one and only time I ever met Stevie, but he was out there standing on business for the people of Flint, and them folks really did appreciate that. The audience, basically, it was an all-star event, but they came for Stevie Wonder because they knew he was going to stand on business for the children. He did it crazy by the end of the show. He was pulling people from the community on stage. It was like some Michael Jackson, We Are the World for Flint type stuff. Like, in that aspect of it, I felt like Stevie Wonder a real rider for real.
Mm. You meet Stevie Wonder, you in the back rooms of history.
Yeah, man. I ain't even take no picture with the man because it was like I didn't even know what to do. Right. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like Vlad is trying to ride the Jay-Z wave. Jay-Z name in the news because of the Epstein files. Pusha T name in the news because of the Epstein files, which I find crazy. Why are we even talking about it like that? Because this whole thing with ICE, this whole thing with Greenland, this whole thing with Venezuela, all of that shit really serves as a distraction. Mm-hmm. They knew from jump what they was dealing with.
How much of these guys, and this is my real deep at home personal questions about some of this stuff. How much of these guys putting rappers and contemporary rappers at that, like in the real world, you know, if you put Jay-Z name in something or Pusha T's name in something, they follow the algorithm just like we do. Darth Perry was a FBI informant on the West Coast who put this video out, and it became kind of like urban folklore, but it's a real thing, and he kind of just vanished. You can't find no proof that Darth Perry ever existed. Mm-hmm. But in this video, he talks about how he was an informant who burnt down the Watts Theater, allegedly. Mm-hmm. He did all these other things, and he set up other people in the Black Panther Party to be killed because the agents who came to him knew black culture better than him. So they knew what books we read. They know what music we listen to. They know the rumors around certain people's names and how they would inflame the internet. I'm bothered in one part by how quickly we don't interrogate that aspect of it before we start throwing people under the bus. Because as black folks, now we setting the standard up to be where the government could put out whatever they want on certain people. And they've done that with so many people that we love and admire. Like, we let the crackers play with Martin Luther King now. Like, I'm living in a world where niggas will let these people play with Martin Luther King because of some bullshit FBI paperwork. And it's like, when did we start fucking with these niggas, nigga?
Social media and the internet, you can be anonymous and you can say how you really feel without having the consequence of getting punched in your mouth for saying it. And this is exactly why you have people who are celebrating the troll. If you celebrate the troll, or even if you don't celebrate it, but if you make space for it, oh, he just trolling. That's how we get a troll president. And people, I think, are ignoring that aspect of it. We are participating in all of this negativity because that's what gets the most likes and views. It's the Jaguar right of it all. It's the idea that if you hate on someone, all attention is good attention. People forgive a lot of bullshit in the name of, well, he's just trying to get engagement, or that's just content. You know what content is? A fart. A fart on a plane is fucking content. But that's not art. You know what I'm saying? Like, anything that you can't justify something just because of capitalism. You can't justify its existence or justify your need or your desire to participate in negativity, to participate in bullshit, to describe yourself in a braggadocious way as being petty and think that your spirit is going to escape the consequences of that.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying? Like, people playing with forces that are beyond their comprehension.
That's real.
All for clicks and likes and views.
That's
because
real.
Nobody likes them in real life.
That's the crazy part about living in these times. Everybody got these different nationalist agendas that associate with Christianity in some sense or form of fashion. And a lot of people moving on that type of stuff, but you can't tell for real because it don't appear that they even believe they got a soul for real. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe Donald Trump believe he got no damn soul. That nigga don't believe in no damn heaven and hell. They asking that boy, do you think you're going to heaven? What the fuck do it matter? He don't believe in that bullshit, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, well, if there's hell, if there's a place called hell, he's going. He's definitely living in hell on earth right now. That's why you posted pictures of the Obamas as apes, because you living in hell.
Yeah, I think he is a tormented person. My problem that I do have with today's culture in another sense too is the fact that as we grow in consciousness, as we grow in awareness, I want to propagate the notion that maybe for him, he is having a good life, right? Like, this nigga get the jet set, this nigga own properties, he could never get indicted. He got all type of shell companies, he's secret Russian mafia, he done had niggas murked, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe, unfortunately, like that Pastor Troy song, vice versa. You know what I'm saying? What if there's some glitch in the world happened after COVID and now the niggas like him is the new I'm living the good life bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think that was always the illusion, right? I think that the idea of winning, and he's like, America's going to do so much winning. Before Donald Trump said that, I was already developing a theory in my head that the idea of winning itself is a white supremacist construct. Because if you're doing so much winning, the only way to do that is if someone else is losing. And that's not community.
I love that.
I spent a lot of my time competing as an MC and trying to win.
Me too.
All I do is win.
Me too.
And the less I think that way, the more community-based my thinking is, and the better person I am because of it.
Man, that comment actually gives me the opportunity to talk about something that I never publicly walked down or publicly discussed. And I use this platform right here to talk about it. So we had this big rap battle in St. Louis between this brother named Bodine, this brother named A-Game, two different crews. And it started out on some hip-hop stuff, but then it just mutated to something totally different, right? And I put a comment out that said something about the city supported some of the biggest names in the city going at each other in the middle of an election. And, you know, we could have really invested a lot of attention on a mutual level to paying attention to what these people trying to do to us. 2-3 weeks after the election, we had a tornado blow through the north side. And now certain niggas come to me calling me Nostradamus. But also, when I talk to my because these guys like my little brothers and stuff, so they kind of took a little bit of offense to what I said, and I didn't intend to offend them. So me and Bo talked in private about it, and we both came to a mutual understanding that I wasn't trying to be offensive towards them, and that, you know, niggas who know me know I'm Captain Political. I'm trying to walk a certain line, and sometimes I make provocative statements, and I'm trying to even work on that, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to just be walking around offending motherfuckers for no reason. So when you had said that, I think sometimes people perceive me to be the old me, right? So they think I'm still kind of in that MC competition mind frame of things. And not really. You know what I'm saying? I've moved on from that in a sense. I can't be that person and be like what I want to become at the end of the saga is a better human being. And sometimes being like this ultra competitive MC for me didn't put me in a position where I could be humble enough to even be trying to talk about certain things.
Yeah, I think competition is in the foundation of MCing. It's in the blueprint of it. That's why we love battle rap and look at battle rap as one of the rawest forms and purest forms of art as being an MC. And we got to respect that. But when you become a man, you put down childish things. And the older you get, the less you try to compete with the industry or compete with these other MCs or other people, and you more compete with your own self. If that's even the right way to say it.
Yeah.
It's more about making yourself better. You're doing it because you need to do it for your own mental health, not because anybody else you're not existing in anyone else's gaze.
Yeah. And also, you know, the sport of battle, me and my brother Rockwell Knuckles talked about it. Out of so many battles, big battles, something changes. You know, like culturally, something happens after a Pac versus Biggie, KRS-One and Shan, Nas and Hove, and even on a local level after certain dudes battles, some changes. You know what I'm saying? And so you never want to be the person that's blocking progress in hip hop, because then you the nigga that's fucking it up for real. You know what I'm saying? So I think having that stance that you just spit isn't about blocking the progress. It's just also offering some OG wisdom about where you get after a certain level of so many wars and turbulent moments. It's like, damn, nigga, I kind of could have got here chilling for real. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I ain't have to like really damn near kill myself to do it. You know what I'm saying? It was a wiser way for me to accomplish this, you know?
No doubt. Well, speaking of wiser ways, I'm wiser and better for knowing you, Tef. Thank you for having this conversation with me.
One love, man. Shout out to everybody at the crib. Shout out to them AMG boys. Kweli, thanks for having me on another episode with you, big dog.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Aaron. Shout out to Chino Chase. Shout out to Federico.
Yeah.
Holding us down. And we are in Minneapolis, so I want to stress that this is a part 1 of our trip to Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Part 2, the next episode, you're going to see us tap in with the people in Minneapolis.
Yeah. You know,
and St. Paul,
facts.
Twin Cities, who doing the work.
Facts.
Fuck ICE. You know what I'm saying? And this has been another Lemme Ask You This.
Nowadays we be rocking glasses for fashion, the light refraction. Cover with Max Factor or hustling backwards. It's high tech, look like Richie from Last Dragon. Your focus on bogus rappers got you caught up in distractions.